One South Korean company just walked up to Wall Street and asked for $28 billion in a single day. And most people outside the chip world have never even heard its name. It's called SK Hynix. And it might be the most important company you don't know. On Monday, SK Hynix launched a share sale in the United States to raise about $28 billion. Let that number sink in. That is not a startup raising a seed round. That is one of the largest share sales in the history of the stock market. To put it in perspective, the only bigger deal in recent memory is SpaceX's record $85 billion offering last month. This one is bigger than Saudi Aramco's giant listing, bigger than Alibaba's. And it's happening because of one thing: artificial intelligence. So who is SK Hynix and why should you care? Here's the money lens. When people talk about the AI boom, they talk about Nvidia, they talk about OpenAI, they talk about the flashy names, but every one of those AI systems runs on physical hardware. And the single most valuable ingredient inside an AI server, after the Nvidia chip itself, is memory. Specifically, something called high-bandwidth memory. Think of Nvidia's chip as a race car engine. High-bandwidth memory is the fuel line. Without it, the engine starves. It doesn't matter how powerful the processor is if it can't get data fast enough. And SK Hynix is the #1 supplier of that memory on the planet. Its customers include Nvidia and Google. In other words, SK Hynix sells the picks and shovels of the AI gold rush, and right now everybody is buying. The results have been staggering. SK Hynix's stock is up about 260% this year alone. 260%. It has outperformed its two biggest rivals, Samsung and Micron. And now it wants to turn that momentum into cold, hard cash. Here's how the deal works. SK Hynix is selling nearly 18 million new shares on the Nasdaq, packaged as American depository receipts, basically a way for U.S. investors to buy a foreign stock right here at home. Before the offering even opened, some of the biggest names in investing lined up. Bailey Gifford, Coatue Management, and Situational Awareness Partners together signaled interest in buying up to $7 billion worth. That is serious money committing before the doors are even open. As one fund manager put it, SK Hynix has been one of the most important companies in the world that most American institutions simply couldn't easily own. This listing changes that. It opens the floodgates. So what is SK Hynix going to do with $28 billion? This is the part that tells you where the whole industry is heading. The company says the money will go toward building new chip factories in South Korea and toward buying the machines that make advanced chips, including the extreme ultraviolet scanners made by the Dutch company ASML. Those machines are among the most complex devices humans have ever built, and they cost hundreds of millions of dollars each. SK Hynix is raising a war chest to build more capacity, faster, so it can keep feeding the AI machine. And it's not doing it alone. Just last week, South Korea unveiled a sweeping national strategy built around chips and AI, including a $576 billion investment program. The country's president personally ordered officials to move fast, to cut through permits, land, power, and water, because South Korea sees chip dominance as a matter of national survival. SK Hynix and Samsung are the anchors of that entire plan. This is a country betting its economic future on memory chips. But here's where it gets interesting and where the risk lives. Analysts are calling this a memory supercycle, a period where all three major suppliers, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, are riding an AI-driven demand wave and prices are soaring. Supercycles are great on the way up. The problem is they always end. Some investors are now worried about something called memory inflation, the idea that memory chips are getting so expensive that they could actually start to slow down spending on AI data centers, phones, and computers. If memory costs too much, buyers pull back and the cycle turns. And you could see that nervousness in the market even as SK Hynix launched this massive raise. Its stock actually fell more than 3% on the day, and rival Micron dropped over 5%. The smart money is asking the trillion-dollar question: how much longer does this boom last? One strategist summed it up perfectly. He said this listing removes an accessibility discount, not a quality discount. Translation: SK Hynix was always a great company. Global investors just couldn't easily buy it. Now they can, and a whole new wave of momentum-hungry money is about to pour in. The final price gets set on Thursday, and the stock is expected to start trading in New York on Friday. When it does, SK Hynix will likely join the major U.S. semiconductor index, which means index funds and retirement accounts all over America will suddenly own a piece of the company that keeps Nvidia running. So here's my question for you. Is SK Hynix the smartest way to bet on AI, the quiet giant selling to everyone? Or is a $28 billion raise the classic sign that a boom is peaking right before it breaks? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want the biggest moves in AI and money broken down like this every single day, subscribe to Mind Blitz. I'll see you in the next one.